Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Listen, so I decided that I wanted to start rereading the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. I was introduced to this book about 10-15 years ago when I was in jail. So wait, hold on. Yes, so this had to been around 2000, I want to say 15. I gotta say, I went to jail 3 different times. The first time, the very first time I went to jail, I was 16. It was in high school. I was arrested in high school, at school, for disorderly conduct, okay? The real charge was honestly verbal assault against a police officer. I did not know that a charge like that existed. I basically cursed out the cop. I was 16. I was a rebel. I was going through some things, okay? I was going through some things. And how I end up getting into the cops vicinity anyway is because me and my friend, I use that term loosely, me and a classmate had a personal disagreement on and off campus. So what happened was, I was doing my friend's hair, right? I was doing my friend's hair, but my friend was not paying me to do her hair, even though she was supposed to be paying me to do her hair. And the last time I went over there to do her hair, I ended up leaving some shoes over there with some Air Force Ones, all white. Okay, and baby, when I was in high school, that was 2005, baby. Y'all know Nelly came out with that song Air Force Ones. What was that, 2002? Or whatever. So yeah, Air Force Ones was very much up there. So anyways, I left my Air Force Ones over there white, and I kept asking her every day, no, y'all, tell me if I'm tripping. I'm serious. I want to hear from y'all in the comments, even as far later. Don't get me wrong, we had a conversation about it after, but still, like, even now, I'm 38. This happened when I was 16. I still feel like I was not wrong. I'm telling you the truth. So I'm asking her almost every day for like 2-3 weeks, hey, can you bring my shoes? Can you bring my shoes? And every day she says she gonna bring them, and she don't bring my shoes. Now, she was one of my friends that had a car. I didn't have a car. She has a car. And we saw each other every day. I mean, when I tell you every day, we had multiple classes a day. This is somebody that I consider like literally a best friend. So we had multiple classes a day. We would get in her car almost every day. So I don't understand how you deliberately would leave my shoes every day for over 2 weeks. So one day I just got pissed, and I took her purse. And I was like, well, until you give me my shoes, I'm not gonna give you your purse. Like, it should be a fair exchange. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like now you get the severity. You see how you got something of mine? Now I got something of yours. So just bring me my stuff. Like, all I wanted was my shoes. Then she was gonna be like, oh, well, we threw them away. What do you mean you threw them away? So now it took me taking your purse to say that we threw them away. Well, who the fuck is we? And when did you throw them away? Why would you throw away shoes? And then they was like, well, your shoes was stinking. And I knew that was a lie, because 1, if you know me, you know I don't even wear tennis shoes like that. 2, I haven't even had them long. These was a brand new, fresh, icy white pair. I think by the time I wore it to her house, I was probably like the 3rd time. And then I was a dancer. It's not like I was a volleyball player at this time or anything like that, even though I did do that throughout like my school career or whatever. Like, please, you acting like my shoes was stinking so much in your room that your only other alternative was for you to throw them away. I even asked her then, and this is me 16, why didn't you just put them in the garage? If they was stinking so bad, why didn't you sit them outside or put them in the garage, put them in your trunk, put them in a grocery bag, double tied tight. Like, to me, that wasn't making sense. You was being mean. You was for what? For what? I just did not understand it. I'm for real, even to this day. I do not understand what was a huge deal about her bringing my shoes. So when she told me that she threw them away, baby, that purse was nothing of value, but her cell phone was. So I was like, until you give me the money, I think it was $75 at that time for some Air Force One, you can get your phone back. So I gave her the purse, took the phone, left. Then she got the cops on me because we had like high school police at the, like, on campus. I'm pretty sure like some schools have that. We definitely had that. So they got the cops and they was like, you can't bring what happened off premises to school premises, and if you don't give her phone, we're gonna arrest you for theft and blah 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 blah. And I was like, fuck you, you ain't gonna do shit. Well, they got me for fucking verbal assault against the police officer. But then when it was time, so he arrested me or whatever, took me to jail, but when it was time to book me, on the way there, he was like, well, I'm gonna reduce the charge to disorderly conduct, you know, just so it won't like really be on your record or anything like that, and it's a less offense. And I guess it was like less money to bail me out, da 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 da. And that was my first jail experience. I'll never forget it. I remember what I had on. I had on these green capri pants with this brown shirt that you could really see my Cleveland. You know what I'm saying? And I had on some brown open-toe slingback shoes. I was looking real curt. I ain't gonna lie. I was looking real curt. And too cute to be in jail. Too young to be in jail. I was one of the youngest ones to be in jail. I remember when I was in the holding cell with people who was really in jail, you know, like prostitutes or like crackheads, homeless people, like you're in there with all of them, of course. It was like, baby, you don't need to be in here. I know. And I just could not believe it. Like, I just could not believe here I am, arrested at 16, in jail, call my mom. My mom refused to bail me out. Yeah, shocker there. You know who did bail me out though? My man. The man I was with at the time, the one that I was actually living with, Chris, which would end up being my first husband at the time. Because me and my mama kept getting into it. Like, Chris moved me out. He was like, I don't want you in that type of environment. But Lord knows, I didn't know I was trading one hell for another. Okay? But anyways, yeah, my man ended up, he came to bail me out or whatever because my mama refused to bum me out. That was the first time I was in jail. And you know who is in jail? A lot of prostitutes. Y'all, it's a lot. I mean, a lot of them. A lot of them. A lot. That's where I was at, over there from Macau, with prostitutes and people who steal. Prostitute and boosters. That was my first experience in a jail. And let me tell you something about these prostitutes too. Because it was my first time like meeting a real one in real life, because the other ones I seen was on Pretty Woman. And prostitutes come in all shapes, colors, sizes, races, all of that. And most of the prostitutes that I've met was actually white or Hispanic, but they were majority white. And then, of course, you know, it's black people in there that was prostitutes as well. But they make it seem so glamorous, y'all. They make it seem like, and this is before social media became what it was. This is before it became popular to be selling that cooch over there in Dubai and all that. This is back when Backpage was a thing. I don't know if that's still a thing. But this was back when Backpage was a thing, because this is how I learned about Backpage. It was the first time I was in jail at 16. They was like, that's how they get their clients. They go on a Backpage or whatever, and they talk about roses, how many roses it's gonna be or something like that, because they got to talk in code. And then she was telling me how she got caught from doing a post on Backpage from an undercover cop. And she was like, I'm just gonna let you know, like, I'm white and I'm not racist or whatever. And it's crazy how people say they not racist before they say a lot of racist things or whatever and whatnot. I'm just saying. Every time they be like, not to be racist, but they about to be fucking racist. All right? But nah, this was really true tea though. She was like, not to be racist, but they really do go after the black girls more than they go after the white girl. So she was like, if I was you, I would partner with somebody that's like white. That's exactly what she said. She said, if you want to go far, mind you, 16. And baby, yes. When I tell you the body, honey, was that of Betty Boop. Young, titties, young and firm, ass, pretty. Just, I was my smallest size too at that time. Baby boom, honey. She was like, if you want to get on, let me know, because we can make some money. And again, they made it sound interesting. I was going through some things at this time. So I did, being all honest, I did consider it. I did. I didn't do it, of course, but I did consider it, because again, they make it sound so glamorous, but when you really think about it, I'm like, I don't know if I can just lay down with strange men for money. But I mean, how many? And then she was like, how many of y'all do it for free? She said, how many of y'all do it for free? I think she told me her minimum was like $300. I think she said that was just for dating or kissing or something like that. She said that wasn't even for much, and that was her, pardon me, that was her starting rate. Anyways, so that was one time at 16. I didn't go to jail again, which is when I got introduced to the book, 48 Laws of Power, was the second time I went to jail. And I violated probation. So this had to have been around like 2015 or 16. It was somewhere up in there. It was like 16, 17, somewhere up in there. It was between 2015 and 16. I went to jail because I violated my probation. Long story about that. We'll get back to that later. And I don't know. Okay, so a lot of things people do in jail is eat and read. Okay, you gotta and sleep. So you gotta like do your time some type of way, or whatever and whatnot. Because 9 times out of 10, it's people that's watching the TV. They want to bully the remote. They want to hog it. They want to hide it. Even the newspaper. Can y'all believe them bitches was hiding the newspaper? The horoscopes. Like, they was gatekeeping. The horoscopes, y'all. It was a real thing. I'm telling you. What? So, and then a lot of people get, like, booed up. Like, they be gay for stay. That's a real thing. Where if they got some time, they just want to get into, like, a meaningless relationship just so they can, honestly, eat good. Because, like, if you can't make stove, I can make stove, which is commissary. They call it making stove. If you can't make stove, I can make stove, and we can eat together or whatever and whatnot. Speaking of commissary, baby, I ain't gonna lie, them commissary packages, the best thing you can bless an inmate with. Like, I'm not even gonna lie to you. If I were you, I wouldn't even put money on their books. I mean, if you want to do that, do that. I would put like a small amount on their books, maybe like $20, $25, $50 a month, and that's only for like toiletries or stamps or a phone card. But what you really need to send the inmates are the packages. They have packages that they send inmates online. You can get packages, I believe, as small as like $20. You can do like a la carte baskets or whatever. But baby, get that Big Bertha. What you need to get them is that Big Bertha. I believe it's like maybe $150, $200. This is back when I was like this 10 years ago at this point, back in 2015. I want to say it was $100, $150, $200. But you get so much food in that commissary bag. I mean, you get the noodles, you get the juices, you get the waters, you get the cheese, you get the jalapenos, your mayonnaise, your ketchup, you get soups, you get chili, you get it all. Tuna, you get donuts, you get cookies, you get chips, like everything you need. Back. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I had some good. Listen. And some of them get their hot pots. Baby, get a hot pot. I think the hot pots is like $30 or whatever on the commissary list. Or link up with somebody who got a hot pot. What? The coffee is in that bag. See, raisin. Baby, send them packages. If you got an inmate that's locked up right now, trust me, they will love you forever. I don't know if it's just a city thing, state thing, I don't know. But if they can do packages, baby, go get that man or that woman a package. Give them a package, baby. That's big business over there. Go give them a package, honey. Give them a package. But anyways, so a lot of them do a lot of different things, you know what I'm saying, to buy their time or whatever. And a lot of things was reading. So it was a lot of books that people would like trade from sale to sale. That's when I got into the After series. I don't know if y'all heard about this book called After. She had like a 5-book series. What was her name? Was it Anna? I'm sorry, y'all. Let me look that up. That's when I got introduced into the After series too. That was really good. I think her name was Anna. Was her name Anna? What was the author name? Or was it Teresa? Let's see, After. Let's see, who was it by? Adapted from After. Where was, hold on. I'm trying to get the author. Anna Todd. So her name was Anna. I knew I wasn't tripping. Baby, let me tell you something. That After series had me running through the ringer because the main character, I forgot her name. But when I tell you that girl cried every book. And them books are thick. If you think look how thick the 48 Laws of Power book is. Baby, After was just as thick, if not thicker. And I remember reading that whole series. Don't get me wrong, that man put her through some things, baby. We can talk about, baby. We can talk about that book After through and through. They did do some films on Netflix. So if you is not familiar, baby, go watch all the Afters from Anna Todd. Because, baby, Okay, but anyways. So another book that was sought after was the 48 Laws of Power. And it was always the prostitute or the hoe that wanted this book or was on list first to get the book. Because, baby, it was a long list ahead of me to get the 48 Laws of Power. And we just so happened to have like a little talk while we was eating dinner at 4 o'clock about why this book is so important. And y'all, I met some unbelievable people in jail. People that I will probably never forget. I've seen some people I've sat down with, because that's what they call it during time, that I sat down with out in real life, and it's just like, dang, we really did that and we overcame that and we're out of that. That does not define us. That was just one time. That was just one time, okay? Because, baby, when I tell you I haven't been in jail, ain't going to jail, you ain't going to see me no more there. That place is not for me, but I realized and I appreciate the works that God did in that situation, because even he used people in the Bible where they were in jail, but he used them in jail to convict somebody else or to become a blessing to somebody else. And that just was a part of their story. It didn't define who they were. It was just a little piece of it. But it was a lot of prostitutes there, and they would tell their stories about, because I would ask, like, I'm genuinely curious. Nobody wakes up and be like, you know what, I'm gonna just get, paid for having sex today or giving head today or whatever and whatnot. Like, it has to be a story behind it. And I was genuinely interested, because going to school in psych class, you learn that, women that typically grew up in a fatherless household or was molested or SA'd or raped, and things like that, how they turn to prostitution or they get addicted to drugs and things like that. Because honestly, by all definition, given my background and what I went through at a young age, I have always been like voluptuous, shapely. I've always had a body that didn't match my age, and it came a lot of unwanted attention from grown ass men. So a lot of things that happened to me at a young age, by definition or by statistics, I should have been a damn prostitute. I should have been a prostitute, a stripper, somewhere in that whole, maybe even doing porn, like somewhere in that type of like background. The fact that I overcame that and I'm not that, honestly, is a blessing, because a lot of women do fall victim into those other roles, which is what a lot of those prostitutes was telling me, you know, that they came from this, or they was being abused and they didn't have nowhere to go, and how they have several children, their mothers watching their children. No lie, that's what they were worried about the most, their children. Even the prostitutes that probably haven't even seen their kids in years. While you sitting down, you have nothing. And I mean absolutely nothing but time to think. You think about everything. Everything 3 times from different angles. Them ladies was crying out from them kids. They wasn't trying to get back to the money. They wasn't trying to get back on the blade. They honestly, they just wanted to be with their kids. And a lot of them was getting bailed out by their pimps. If not all. A lot of them was getting bailed out by their pimps. I remember this one prostitute, she was so-called and gorgeous too, Hispanic, blonde hair, so cute. I mean, that girl was so cute. All she kept talking about is how much she missed her cocaine. She was like, oh my God, I just want to do an imaginary line real quick. The drip. I didn't even know what a drip was, okay? I have never did coke. Coke is not my story. But, baby, when I tell you she had a trick that was putting money on her books every week, coming to visit her. He was like, baby, when you get out, we is going on a trip, blah, 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 blah. And I actually seen her. I seen her like a year or 2 later with the trick at a high-scale restaurant, okay? And I ended up asking her, because she was like, you look familiar. I knew who she was when I saw her. She was like, you look familiar. I think we know each other. And she was like, I know. And so I went and I whispered in her ear. I was like, she was like, yeah. I was like, is this him? She was like, yeah. I said, so did y'all go on that trip? She was like, yeah. But anyways, the stories that most of these women told, and like their pimps, and how the rules go, and how most of the pimps got their rules and how to manipulate people, is from this book. And they were saying how this book basically teaches you to have mind control over a person. Now, some would say that's putting 20 on 10. So I figured you and we can go and read it together and see what's up. Because I ain't even gonna lie, I've never read this whole book in totality. I think I probably read the first maybe 17 chapters. I honestly don't recall, because I haven't picked this book up in over a decade. But I do want to see what they talking about. I want to see if it's going to give me a better mental understanding of other people's psyche. Because I'm not going to lie, at this point, it's either I'm too smart or people are really that stupid. And right now, I don't know which one. I'm just being honest. I'm not trying to be mean. Either I'm too smart or these people are really just that damn stupid. And I remember after when they was done with all their stories or whatever, I was like, you know what? I could do this. I could be a pimp. What's a female pimp? A madam. I could be a madam. And I remember one of the prostitutes was like, bitch, how you gonna pimp when you can't even see, ho? Because Lord knows I ain't have my glasses and I couldn't see nothing. I was just squinting all up and through. She said, but how you gonna make sure your money right? Make sure your hoes right? Like, she was really breaking it down. And, oh, man, good times. I ain't even gonna lie. Good times. I mean, bad. I wouldn't want to go big. Let's go get that straight. I wouldn't want to go big. But I would be lying if I say it didn't shape me to the woman I am today. Or, like, I don't regret it. I'm sorry. I don't regret it, even though could have been uncomfortable to most people, and it was. Nobody would ever feel comfortable, I feel, taking cold showers, shitting in front of 8 people, being on a steel concrete floor, or sleeping on a damn mattress that they used to give you for nap time in pre-K, waking up, eating breakfast at 4 a.m., lunch at 11 a.m., dinner at 4 p.m., sharing and standing in line for hours on end. If you get a chance to get on a phone call and it's timed, everybody needs it. Maybe you get a letter, maybe you don't. Maybe somebody's coming to visit you, maybe they won't. It's a horrible experience. Being in jail is horrible. It wasn't designed for comfort. It was not designed for comfort at all. You ain't getting no hot meal. I don't care if you right next door to the kitchen. No meal is hot. Heartburn at an all-time high. Sometimes you might get a sandwich with bread that don't match. One might be wheat, one might be white. That's all they got. Sometimes you might get a dot of mustard. Sometimes you might get a little swerve of mustard. Sometimes it might not be no mustard at all. And it ain't gonna be no cheese. It's gonna be just meat or cheese, never both. Never both. Nobody will want to go through that. You, especially when you're on your period. What? Having your period in jail, and then women sync up too. They give you the cheapest pads, tampons, women bleeding through their clothes. It's not enough supplies to give everybody. So you just gotta deal with it. A lot of people go on a medic because they can't even shit. They not eating, or the food that they are eating, not even properly digesting, because it's not real. None of the food is real, really, unless you get that commissary package that we talked about. It's horrible. It's horrible. It is not a comfortable experience at all. People steal. You can't fight. If you fight, you get another charge. It's hell. And sometimes people want to do their time in peace, and sometimes a lot of people don't allow you the grace to do that. Sometimes you might see some things that you are very much uncomfortable with. I was very much uncomfortable seeing a young girl beat up on this old woman. I didn't like how the guards was treating some of the cellmates, cleaning out their cell, raiding them, berating them. Hated it. Hated it. I hate the fact that certain things would get me riled up in there that wouldn't even touch me on the outside. I had to bunk with and work with people I wanted to fight physically every day, but I couldn't, because I would literally get another charge and nobody was above me staying there longer than I have to. Girls wanted to fight me because they thought that girl liked me, even though I ain't no lesbian. A girl wanted to fight me because she said she didn't like the way I laughed. I left my body wash in the shower one time, stolen, all gone. What you gonna do? I took a nap, woke up, somebody raided my locker, ate all my food. Nothing I can do. Nothing I can do. Because what you gonna do? I can't beat them up. Beat them up. I'm gonna get a charge. And then I'm gonna get off the program because I was working commissary. I can't make her throw up. I mean, I could. But how she gonna get me back the food? She ain't even got money to make stuff, which is why she stole in the first place. What she gonna do? Shit it out, give it to me? Let's start with rule number 1. Law 1, never outshine the master. Always make those above you feel comfortably superior. In your desire to please and impress them, do not go too far in displaying your talents, or you might accomplish the opposite. Inspire fear and insecurity. Make your masters appear more brilliant than they are, and you will attain the height of power. No lie, I've already been talking for 30 minutes, and before we expand on this, I just want to say somebody told me that in real time. Well, not in real time, but like somebody told me that before in my life. It was 2019. I was interviewing, and I went to this one interview for a company. And the guy was interviewing me. To be honest, I'm not sure if I told this story before because I only told it to like one or two people. And I'm not sure if you were the people, but let's go. I was interviewing for a job role, and I was in the middle of the interview, and I was talking about, my accomplishments and why I deserve the job and blah, 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 blah. And we'll just call him Chad. Chad interrupted me in the middle of me speaking. He said, "You're incredible. And not only are you incredible, you are very threatening." And he said, "I'm only telling you this because I'm leaving and I got another job in Las Vegas." He said, "However, if I did not have that, I would not hire you." He said, "Because you're a threat to what I'm doing. And I don't feel like my job would be safe with you here." And he said, "I'm only being honest, and I'm telling you this now because I feel that a lot of people have done you like that in your past that you wasn't even aware of. And I want you to know that even though you might get some closed doors, it's not because you wasn't good enough. It's because they felt inferior." And when I tell you, I was like, oh my God. He was like, I just gotta let you know. He was like, "I feel very insulting even offering you this role and the pay that it comes with." And he said, "Because I feel like you're much above this." And can I tell you how many strangers have like prophetically told me things about myself that I promise you, again, I was seeking God for clarity, for answers, and I feel like he would speak through certain people. And that's one thing that I was kind of curious about. Like, I kind of felt that way, but I wasn't 100% sure because briefly before 2019, when Chad told me that, let's back up and go to 2012. The first time somebody told me that was actually a Black woman. Again, I was at a job, and I was leaving. I just clocked out. It was an interview, but it was like a mock interview, meaning like you worked. They wanted to see how you worked before they fully give you like the okay or whatever. So I worked for about like 2 or 3 hours that day. So I was leaving. I was in the parking lot. I was going to my car, and one of the supervisors stopped me. She was like, "Listen, let me tell you something. Everybody looking at you." She said, "I know this is your first day. I know this was a mock, but some of the other managers are already feeling threatened by you being here." And she said, "I just want to let you know to just continue to be on your shit, whether they say yes or no." She said, "Because I don't need this job. I know I'm above this job. I got a 2-story house. I got this, I got that." She said, "I don't know where you are in life and where you're trying to be, but I can let you know you're above this job as well. And even though it's temporary, you still need to watch out because everybody is not going to be for you." She said, you have this presence. You just have this presence." And she said, "I feel like you're going to have to fight through that." And I be damned. I feel like I've been having to fight through that like my whole life. And it's like, I can't stop being who I am. I can't stop showing up how I am. Y'all, I had to create a whole different resume just so it would be like less threatening to others. So when they say make your superior feel comfortable, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, it's making a whole lot of sense. Because I'm not telling you what I heard. I'm telling you what I know. The transgression of the law. Nicholas Farquaad Lewis is this the 8th? Wait, X10, no, 10, the 14th. Louis the 14th finance minister in the first year of his reign was a generous man who loved lavish parties, pretty women, and poetry. He also loved money, for he led an extravagant lifestyle. Farquaad was clever and very much indispensable to the king. So when the prime minister, Jules Mazarin, died in 1661, the finance minister expected to be named the successor. Instead, the king decided to abolish the position. This and other signs made Farquaad suspect that he was falling out of favor, and so he decided to ingrate himself with the king by staging the most spectacular party the world had ever seen. The party's ostensible purpose would be to commemorate the completion of Farquaad's chateau. The completion of Farquaad's chateau. But its real function was to pay tribute to the king, the guest of honor. Voulez-vous? I don't know French. The most brilliant nobility of Europe and some of the greatest minds of the time, La Fontaine, Madame de Sévigné, attended the party. Merlich wrote a play for the occasion. I'm pretty sure I am pronouncing all these names incorrectly. I don't know French. I don't know the pronunciation. Accent. I don't know nothing. In which he himself was to perform at the evening's conclusion. The party began with a lavish 7-course dinner featuring foods from the Orient never before tasted in France, as well as new dishes created especially for the night. The meal was accompanied with music commissioned by Farquaad to honor the king. After dinner, there was a promenade through the chateau's garden. The grounds and the fountain of Vaux-le-Vicomte was to be inspiration of the Versailles. Farquaad personally accompanied the young king through the geometrical aligned arrangements of shrubbery and flower beds. Arriving at the garden's canals, they witnessed a fireworks display, which was followed by the performance of Malaria's play. The party ran well into the night, and everyone agreed it was the most amazing affair they had ever attended. The next day, Farquaad was arrested by the king's head musketeer, D'Argon. 3 months later, he went on trial for stealing from the country's treasury. Although most of the stealing he was accused of, he had done on the king's behalf and with the king's permission. Farquaad was found guilty and sent to the most isolated prison in France, high in the Pyrenees Mountains, where he spent the last 20 years of his life in solitary confinement. Do you know what solitary does to the human mind? For 20 years, this man had no contact with... Wow, petty. Did y'all see? Louis XIV, the Sun King, was a proud and arrogant man who wanted to be the center of attention at all times. He could not continue being outdone in lavishness by anyone, and certainly not his finance minister. To succeed Farquaad, Louis chose Jean-Baptiste Colbert, a man famous for his parsimony and for giving the dullest parties in Paris. Colbert made sure that any money liberated from the treasury went straight into Louis's hands. With the money, Louis built a palace even more magnificent than Farquaad's, the glorious palace of Versailles. He used the same architects, decorators, and garden designers. Oh, petty, petty, petty. And at Versailles, Louis hosted parties even more extravagant than the ones that cost Farquaad his freedom. It says, let us examine the situation. The evening of the party, as Farquaad presented spectacle on spectacle. As Farquaad presented spectacle on spectacle to Louis, each more magnificent than the one before, he imagined the affair as demonstrating his loyalty and devotion to the king. Not only did he think the party would put him back in the king's favor, he thought it would show his good taste, his connections, his popularity, making him indispensable to the king and demonstrating that he would make an excellent prime minister. Instead, however, each new spectacle, each appreciative smile bestowed by the guest on Farquaad made it seem to Louis that his own friends and subjects were more charmed by the finance minister than by the king himself. He was jelly, y'all. He was jelly. And that Farquaad was actually flaunting his wealth and power rather than flattering Louis XIV. Farquaad's elaborate party offended the king's vanity. Ego is a strong thing, y'all. Louis would not admit this to anyone, of course. Instead, he found a convenient excuse to rid himself of a man who had inadvertently made him feel insecure. Such is the faith in some form of other of all those who unbalance the master's sense of self, poke holes in his vanity, or make him doubt his preeminence. When the evening began, Farquaad was at the top of the world. By the time it had ended, he was at the bottom. Y'all, I think we're going to just stop it right here. And then we're going to go over the observance of the law next time. Tell me what y'all think about this. Baby, they say, baby, that ego. Men don't play about their ego. Y'all let me know below. What was some of the pettiest things somebody done when you didn't mean it to be like that? Well, they took it like that. And if you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.